Hello, everyone, and welcome to part two of Gaffrethon TMC Any History Showcase story. I'm joined once again with Myth, who will be doing commentary with me, as well as Nitros, who will be our runner today. How is it going, guys?
I'm pretty good.
All right, perfect. So, as usual, we're going to start with a small interview to get to know our runner, and then we'll start with the run. So, Nitros, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm Nitros. I am a speedrunner of quite a few 2D Zelda games on the Game Boy, Minish Cap being one of them, which is why I'm here for this little event thing.
All right. When did you play Minish Cap for the first time? You've been there for quite a few years now, I think.
Yeah, so the first time I played a game was probably somewhere around 2014 or so, back when it came out for the Wii U Virtual Console. So I played it like casually back then, and I started getting into the speedrun for the first time around mid 2019, I want to say, back when all those new glitches got discovered all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then about a year and a half later is when I seriously started learning it and then my first run.
All right. Well, you've already told us when you started running it, but the other question I have is why. You've mostly known for your Oracles speedruns. Was it for you the logic continuation, since it's also to do the game made by Capcom, or was it something else? Were you uh, influenced by Martin?
For sure, yeah. So one of my goals early on, or basically when I started learning more games apart from just the Oracles, was to just branch out more and learn some different games. So different Game Boy Zelda games were quite a logical next step, I guess. So yeah, I got some help from multiple people in learning the game, like Fire Turtle, Martin, among others. So that definitely helped a ton.
All right, I see. Speaking of which one was your first speed game? I think it was one of the Oracle games.
Yes, it was Oracle of Ages.
All right, and how did you get to know all about speedrunning? Was it something that came to you naturally, or did you find it by mistake or something like that?
Yeah, so speedrunning, originally, I probably watched the first speedrunning videos I saw back in also 2014 or so. It was some GDQ runs of Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, those really big games. But then way later, I ended up seeing a run a couple of years after that of Oracle of Seasons by Mighty Mouth at SGDQ 2018. So then I watched that run and I was like, well, I really like the Oracle games, so I should probably try this out as well. So that's about the first time I seriously started trying to get into it.
Yeah, so like the famous "Why not me?" question that we all ask before we start. All right. So except for the Oracle games, what are the other speedruns you do, and is there one of them you really want to tell us a little bit about?
Yeah, so besides the Oracles, I've ran mostly just a lot of 2D Zelda games, as we mentioned. The ones I've probably put the most effort into would be stuff like Link's Awakening for the Game Boy, and also Four Swords Adventures for the GameCube. They're both probably the most technically intensive speed games out of the bunch that I've ran. So those are definitely very cool runs out of the runs that I've learned. Um, yeah, I really like all of my speed games that I've played. All of the 2D Zeldas have their own, you know, differences and strengths that make them into very unique speed games. So they're very fun to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. And I remember you were with us last year on the summer running FSA. If you want to check it out, you can find it, find the VOD on the YouTube. All right. So what are you doing on Twitch currently? I've seen you practice this route, of course, but is there something else you are up to? Another speed game, maybe, or something more casual?
So currently, I haven't really been doing too much activity on Twitch as of late, but I'm planning on after this event to start to do more Oracle of Ages, most likely. Start to get into the all dungeons category. just been on my mind for quite a while. It's got on a lot of new breaks in the past year, so I'm very excited to get back into that.
All right, world premiere. You can all note in chat that Nitros will be doing all licenses very soon for the Oracle of Ages. All right, now for the category you're about to run, Portal items. You were not there when it was actively run, so what's
That's
your
right.
story with it? Do you have anything, any feeling particular about it?
No, none at all. Nah, just kidding. Well, one of the first times I saw Minish Cap as well was like the AGDQ run from 2017 by DBX, and that ran this particular route as well.
Oh,
And it's really like I mean, part of the reason why I picked it up for this event was definitely because it's very different from the modern route of this game. There's not as many tricks and manips everywhere. It's a lot more like execution, movement, and reacting to the luck that the game gives you, since it's not all being manipulated and all of that stuff. So it makes for a very like unique run, despite like it being the same game and just the same category, just in different points in history. So it's been a very interesting experience running it, that's for sure.
all right. I'm glad to hear it. Right, last question. Kind of tradition now. If you had to choose, would you choose waffles or cookies?
Waffles all the way.
All
It's
the
not
way,
even a
of course.
debate.
All right. Thank you very much, Nitros. So we're gonna switch in just a second, and then you can start your run. See you in a sec. And that's it. The second has passed. All right. This time, live split is ready. I have everything. The game audio seems fine, and so I guess we are ready to start.
Gotta make the file real quick. I came very prepared to this.
100% text speed plus.
Yes.
Is that ATX?
Oh, that's not the fast text. It sure is. Gotta rep my team.
Right.
But yeah,
So
so we're good to
go.
Alright, so yeah. I'm gonna go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, the audio is pretty
Yeah,
loud.
it's very loud. If you could just diminish this on your end, Nitros.
I could try.
That's much better, I think.
There we go.
Alright, so Nitro's doing Minish Cap portal items. The first thing that's very different, it's not English anymore, Myth.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone decided that, hey, let's actually run on the faster version.
And so they did.
Yeah, this story kind of like begins where we left off last week, where in 2014, everyone had been running on the legacy route, and then
It's super loud again.
Then suddenly, not only was emulator banned, but a new trick was discovered called portal items, which we're going to be seeing quite a bit later on. It's going to come into play in Fortress, which will be just before the hour mark of the run. But yeah, this route spanned over quite a few years. And towards the later stages of this route's implementation, people like DBX and Toads started developing RNG manipulations. So I believe it was DBX that came up with this RNG manipulation that Nitros is going to do. Which is, we're going to be manipulating a blue rupee, so we don't need to go and open a bunch of chests. We're only going to be opening this chest for the red rupee. Oh wait, no, you're going to be doing Toad's manip. Okay.
Yep, Nitro is doing the 4 blue rupee manips, which is slightly different. It's for a while, I think it was both of them were done only either 1 or 4 blue rupees, and more recently everybody dropped it the 4 blue rupee one for the 1 rupee, because it's more or less the same speed, except you get a health refilling in chrono, which is always a good thing. And so, quick point on the story, I suppose. So we have to bring a sword to the castle to give to the champion. The champion is gonna be a bad guy, and we have to save Zelda turned into stone. I know, spoilers from the bad guy. So right now it is the festival. Not much is going to differ from last week until the 3rd dungeon, right? Until Fortress of Winds.
Yeah, pretty much. It's going to be this almost the same. We're going to be seeing things like the different rupee routes. So we're not going to be seeing a chest being picked up in Deepwood Shrine. Instead, we're going to be seeing what everyone now thinks is the normal Deepwood Shrine route, which is now it's unchanged from this route all the way up to present day.
Yep, indeed. And so, apart from the rupee route and the fact that it is in Japanese, I guess some small optimization have been made in between those two routes, which might be harder to see because, well, as we just say, it's small optimizations.
Oh yeah, the first record done on this route was it was a 2 hour 59.
All right.
Sorry. 1 hour 59:35. It was just under the 2 hour mark. It was only about 10 seconds faster than the world record done on the legacy route just prior. But then over the course of the next couple of years, that eventually got lowered down to a 151 17, I think.
Yeah, so pretty low 51, which is quite a long way to go from barely sub 2 to a 151. It's like 7-8 minutes.
Yeah, 7-8 minutes or so. And the portal items itself doesn't
save that much.
Doesn't save that amount of time. This is pure optimization and improvement over the years. Nearly entirely in part to Toads. I believe Toads held the record for the entirety of this period, except for DBX getting it for the space of a week during their GDQ run in 2017.
Mm-hmm. And so, well, the beginning is going to be a little bit slow, but this is always going to be the case for all the routes, because this is a heavily, I don't know if scripted is the right word, but you have to go through certain hoops in Zelda games, and this one is just the same. You will have to set up the wall to give you your first tool. Basically, use the sword and the shield, and you have to get to familiarize yourself with the controls, like rolling, moving. Since we have a little bit of time, I guess we can talk about what rolling does in this game. Okay.
Yeah, this is the only 2D Zelda game that's got rolling, apart from Four Swords Adventures, and I'm pretty sure it's very similar. It's not exactly the same as in Four Swords Adventures, but yeah, you get a little bit of a speed boost, so you want to roll everywhere that you can. But also you get immunity frames, so Nitros is going to demonstrate rolling through some enemies.
Yep. And I guess it's also the case with the DS game, but it depends if you think about 2D or 3Ds. It's more of a philosophical question at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, rolling is faster. You want to roll every 28 frame, was it? Something like that?
Yeah. It's 28 frames whilst you're big, and 25 frames when you're Minish-sized, just to make things awkward.
Harder, yeah. And so in the forest we're going to meet Heslo, our dear companion, the famous Minish Cap, the hat, who will basically be a tutorial and a sassy sidekick, I suppose. And it will also teach us how to become a Minish, which we will see in a few seconds on the Tristan. So,
First fight done. GG's.
First skill.
Might get a bit harder later on in the game.
Yeah. And what started? So now the world really opens up. I wonder, well, actually we were saying how the sub 2 was barely 159. Was it in Japanese or was it in English? The Legacy sub 2?
The Legacy Sub 2 was in Japanese.
Already. All right.
No run on the North American release has ever been in under 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not even there that we can squeeze a minute and a half, or I don't know how much time saved from switching the language. So really it's only 5 minutes from other items maybe, and then 2 to 3 minutes from optimization.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how much time the portal items does save, but really, yeah, another big thing about portal items as well is that it is a version exclusive glitch. It does not work on the North American version.
Oh yeah.
So the only viable versions to do this route is the Japanese version or the European version. As we mentioned last week, the European version is straight up 40 seconds slower than all other versions.
Yeah.
Because you can't fast travel after the Palace of Winds.
Indeed. So from this point on, I guess Japanese was the one and only version of the game that was bound to be run. And so, just like last week, Nitros has to get the nut to learn how to speak Minish, and I guess how to speak with animals as well, while we are at it. So, truly a magical nut. Too bad it was the only one they had left in store. They could have, I don't know, plant it and get a lot of fruits and sell them and get rich. But not gonna happen this time. And so we're gonna enter a Debrief Shrine, finally. Debrief Shrine being the first dungeon, which is basically a tutorial dungeon, I suppose. In which a lot of ESO triggers are gonna explain to you how things work, but there's also something a little bit annoying about those ESO trigger when you roll into them, and I'm gonna let you explain that, Nick, because you've done it so good last week. I don't want to betray you.
Yeah. So I was looking into the decom code for this, and how an ESO trigger works is that when you walk into it, it activates a 30 frame counter, which is half a second. When that ends, it then starts beginning the animation, but it sets an additional 30 frame counter. So there is supposed to be a full 1 second gap between you touching the ESO trigger and ESO finally starting to talk to you. Now, when you roll into the ESO trigger, this is exactly what happens. However, if you walk into an ESO trigger, for some reason, the first 30 frame counter doesn't actually load correctly, and instead only the second one does. So it's literally only half a second that you have to wait before ESO starts talking to you versus the 1 full second. So walking into an ESO trigger is a glitch.
Technically,
and
yeah.
The intended game, like the code, is intended to be executed the way that what happens when you roll into it.
Actually, yeah. It's still crazy to me how the game expects you to roll into it, because I mean, it's so natural to me to avoid rolling into it now.
Yeah, it's clearly a developer oversight. They intended for it to happen no matter what you do going into the SO trigger, but then they overlook the walking into the trigger.
I guess they assume people will be rolling everywhere, which is kind of funny because when I see someone playing that game casually, usually they don't roll that much. Quite on the contrary, so...
I don't even think the developers were even aware. I don't think they were even trying to think that about if people would roll into the triggers or anything. It's purely an oversight, and that they didn't even catch in like playtesting. Because it's such a small thing. Who's going to notice a half-second difference in a text box when playtesting the game? They're more interested in stuff like visual bugs and
like why did you play the
glitches.
ocarina while entering a stair?
Yeah.
Well, while we were talking about the intricacies of Ezra triggers, Nitro's made his way to the first mini-boss. So this game is very classic Zelda game. You get into a dungeon, you fight a mini-boss, you get an item that lets you go to the second house of the dungeon and then fight the boss. This one is Mother Pillar. You can kill him in 2 cycles. And that's very nicely done.
Yeah, that was a really fun fight. It can be a bit scary sometimes.
Yeah. And so, Nitro's got the Sucky Pot 9000, aka the Ghost Jar, which, well, just sucks things. I mean, there's no way to put it. And this is a new optimization that Quo didn't do, this small, I don't know, well, just sucking the web from the right and walking into the void so that you can fall and not have the animation of Link putting away the Goja, which is kind of long when you think about it. So very nice optimization.
Yeah, for this route, very early on in the development of this route in 2015, Toads did individual level runs for Deepwood and trying to get the best time possible. And yeah, they really optimized it to the point that the route that they did, the run that they did in 2015, was a 718, which is like extremely competitive nowadays as well. They really optimized it back then.
Yeah, well, I guess since, as we said earlier, the route didn't change, you can just take a very optimized version from 7 years ago and it can still be very relevant. There's something else to mention about the lily pad movement is that if you use the Goja, I think it's 3 or 4 times in one direction, and then once in a perpendicular direction, you get a small boost, small optimization, but it's that kind of stuff that lets you go from 153 to 151. Well, not that kind of stuff.
No one saw that.
So what? Yeah, here we're going to be seeing the first route difference from what we saw last week, where Quo went and got the chest that's located on the left-hand side of this dungeon, but we don't need to go and get the chest there because we've got 40 rupees already, so we're just going to head straight to the boss and save a bit of time.
Do you know how much that saves, like getting 4 blue rupees instead of that chest there?
It is a little bit faster, but it's not a huge amount.
Mm-hmm.
I would think it's a couple of seconds.
Yeah, but it's not like 10 seconds.
No, I think I know getting the 4 rupees is about 10 seconds slower than getting 1. But I don't know what the time comparison is versus the old route of getting the chest.
I guess getting up and down stairs is 8 seconds, so...
Yeah, it is, so...
It must have around, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8, getting the 4 blues instead of that chest. Alright, so first boss, it is a simple green shoe, but since we have entered this dungeon as a Minish, well, you have to make do and fight the big green shoe. And to do that is very easy. You use the item you got on the dungeon and you whack it with the sword, which is pretty much what this game is all about, really. So 3 cycles. And the last one you can either jump or charge at you. I didn't pay attention if I think green should charge at Nitros.
Yeah, it was a charge.
Alright, so good RNG on Nitros' part, and that is the first element. And so, what is going to change compared to Close Route now? We're still gonna get the bombs, we're still gonna go to the town. What now?
Yeah, from this point on, it's now going to be pretty much exactly the same as what we saw last week, all the way through to Fortress.
Alright.
Where we will see portal items.
Alright then, so what we can expect is just Chrono Climb, the mushroom thingy with the ghost jar, and a completely glitchless Cave of Flames, and yeah, and the boot quests and so on.
So, one of the interesting things about portal items is that on its introduction to the speedrun in 2014, it wasn't a new glitch. It was discovered by Mr. Gruns in 2009, so it's something the community always knew about, but could never, didn't actually implement it in Fortress purely due to not having a way of making it work. When we get to Fortress, we'll see the whole setup for it, but the setup, it was the new thing. That was discovered by MB Rules, who was the world record holder at the time.
Yeah, sometimes you have all the tools you need to get escape, but you don't know how to use them, or you try it and you're like, yeah, that's never gonna work. But actually, it can work, and you need a new pair of eyes or hands, some fresh blood to try it. Well, as it happens, MB wasn't fresh blood, but this time is the exception that confirms the rule, I guess. So another 7 quid to not fuse with the stranger. And another difference is, since this isn't the American version, Ezlo doesn't talk to us. Ezlo
that is a big time save.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds for each 7 quid.
Yeah.
Getting to learn the spin attack, which is the only scroll we learn for all the 100% routes. I don't see spin attack skip anytime soon, or maybe ever, because it's not only used to progress with that guard that asks you to spin, but also to make clones, which is the main mechanic of the game, so you can't really do without it.
Some absolutely revolutionary thing would need to be discovered before we can skip the spin attack, seeing as it's needed to do the final killing blow to Vati, so we need to be able to kill Vati a different way. Or get to the credits a different way.
Can you do ID3 with bombs and just one sword without clones? I don't think so.
I don't believe so. I've messed around with it before, but I've never recorded being able to do it without the spin attack.
Because I mean, that could be a thing that Taz could do or something, but in any way.
I've not given it full effort, but I'm sure Tom has done it before to see if it was faster.
And so we are on Chrono. We bought a bottle just like last week, which costed 20 rupees, and that's part of the rupee route. We have 21 and we need 40 for the grip ring, but just like last week, Nitro's gonna grab another red through the blocks after getting the radioactive water. You can tell me whatever you want. It's not mineral water, it's green. Green means uranium or plutonium. Mountain Dew.
So yeah, the period of portal items spanned from 2014 through to late 2014 through to early 2017.
Oh yeah, wasn't it 2016 for Flipper Script?
It was 2017.
Oh, really?
DBX did their run at AGDQ 2017, which was in the January 2017, and then a couple months later, Flipper Skip was discovered. So there was this like period of no like big glitches being discovered, but discoveries were still being made, and Total's doing a lot of that whilst still having the world record. They were doing a lot of glitch hunting into the game, and their YouTube channel is absolutely filled with loads of cool, like glitch demonstrations and stuff. Things that aren't viable for the speedrun to actually save any time, but very interesting things nonetheless, and things that ended up being very important to know in the future for some later improvements.
Yeah, I mean, science is good. It doesn't really matter if it's gonna be useful or not. It's just knowledge about what can be done in the game, and it can be useful at some point, or maybe never. Like that if you do portal item with water, with a bottle of water, you just spill water forever. It will probably be useless forever, but who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it's gonna be useful.
And that glitch where you jump out of a hole and Link looks mirrored, like that's a weird visual bug, but definitely won't be useful later on.
Yeah. So Chrono, not much to say, a bunch of enemies, very RNG heavy. You need to pay attention to your health, which is not looking too bad, but it's gonna depend on the climb later on with the rocks falling. And right now Nitro is about to buy the grip ring. The Piat was a pain in the butt as usual. There we go. So how many hits do you think Nitros will get? I said 2.
I think only 1.
Only 1, alright. That was very lucky.
These hitboxes are so weird. They are a little bit small, but also like they're not as small as you think.
Yeah.
But they need to be overlapping Link in a certain way. Oh wow, it got through without any hit.
No hate, damn. This is the run where you don't get hit and where the Piat doesn't interrupt you. My, well, Kuro is watching that and is very mad at Nitro's luck right now. So some trivia, it's written in Japanese so you can't really read it, but right there Eslo said that the raindrops are going to hurt a lot because you are small, but turns out that the raindrop only do 1/4 of damage, aka the minimal amount of damage. So Eslo is just a goddamn liar.
Everyone's favorite rock puzzle.
The best one. Kind of funny to me how you only see rock puzzle on Chrono Climb. There's no other. Well, I guess there's ice puzzles in Droplets, but well.
I wouldn't say puzzles, but you definitely you push boulders in other places, like opening up shortcuts in the overworld.
Yeah, but it's just one push. It's not like
a
small puzzle like that. But it's that kind of places that you can't really save any time, but you can lose a bunch if you are, I don't know, like doing something else while you are pushing the rock and you push it one much too far, and then you cry. Never happened to me, I swear. Oh, very nice enemy grab. I've always wondered if that saves time. Maybe it does, but the school, that's all that matters. And another red rupee. Now we only need one more chest in Cave of Flames to do the rupee route. And I think this one is the last route, right?
Yes.
Sounds correct to me.
I guess there's a hard puzzle in Palace of Winds, but alright, now we are going to enter Melari's mines. I think it's Melari that is called.
Yeah, Malari. So during the era of this route, there was quite a lot of activity in the community. They did the first ever Minish Cap tournament, which featured Toads and the competing in the finals.
Who won?
I'm pretty sure it was Toads.
Ooh.
I don't actually have. I'm completely like going off memory on this. I don't remember. I don't have any info on that tournament. There's a challenge for it somewhere that I need to find the link for.
Yeah.
But that tournament was done in 2016.
There's one indeed. I got confirmation.
Yeah.
And during the tournament, MB got a 53.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a pretty good time. Was it with this route that there was the Legend of the 152-52? What's the story behind that?
Toads had the they set the record of a 152-52. I'm gonna find the date for it, but it pretty much lasted an entire year unbeaten, which was the longest record, like uncontested record for quite a while. There were people like SD2 that had the record theoretically for longer, was in an era of no competition, whereas people were actively trying to beat the record.
And so it became an impossible time to beat, the 152-52.
Yeah. They set that time on the 27th of September 2015.
Alright.
And then they beat it in November 2016, I presume as part of the tournament.
Alright, so yeah, a year and 2 months later.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And I'm sure there were new discoveries at that point as well. Yeah, some other things that were also happening in the community is that people will start. People back in 2014 had questioned what the version, what the time differences were between the different consoles, and they came to the conclusion that if you're playing on the VBA emulator, you're getting a really unfair advantage over anyone on console because your save times were way faster.
Around 2 seconds per save, I think.
Yeah. And later in 2016, they did another analysis to check not just on Game Boy Player, but everyone had kind of overlooked the Wii U version. Everyone checked the Wii U version and saw that it had that time save on the saving quits, which meant that it became the fastest version to play on. But the issue was no one could get the Japanese version on the Wii U immediately. As soon as they came to the realization that it was faster, people were only testing on European and North American versions. So it had to take some time before homebrewing features were in place to be able to play the Japanese version outside of the Japanese Wii U, or import of Japanese Wii U and then play Minish Cap on that.
What we just saw is a new strat for that fight last week. Koyo's bombs, I think, and there with just a kinda precise, not too precise, let's say precise spin attack. You can kill the 3 on the left quickly. There Nitro only got 2, but it's no big deal, so you have time to kill the top right and the top 1 with 2 slashes, and then you prepare another spin attack, and the 4 remaining spiky chew jump at you and you can kill them. And even if you can kill all of them, usually only the bottom one will be stunned and you have time to go kill him manually. So very nice strat, not very difficult, but a little bit precise. It's precise enough that you need to learn it, but it's not that difficult that you really dread it. So very nice strat. And I think that's the only new thing we're gonna see in that dungeon.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's identical from this point on. But this, it doesn't mean this dungeon is like Deeper Shrine where it's the same up to modern day. This dungeon has had lots of changes over all of the routes, so it's going to be quite interesting in weeks to come to see how this this dungeon is going to evolve.
Yeah, for sure. While we are at it, Nitros, what do you think of the minecart in the Minish Cap? Are they cool?
They are really fast.
Really fast, especially compared to the Oracle games. But would you rather have Oracle's minecart in TMC or TMC minecart in Oracle's?
I don't know, I think it's fine as it is. And the Oracles, they have some puzzles on the minecart, which makes them more interesting.
Yeah, you can use items while you are on them, contrary to TMC. I mean, can you imagine trying to hit a target with a bow on TMC minecart?
Yeah.
I can't. Alright, that was a very nice cycle skip. Truly a marvel of execution from Nitro there. And yeah, Cave of Flames is not the most interesting dungeon before it gets glitches. But just like Quo last week, I guess Nitro is gonna skip a cycle, well, skip a tornado. Always cracks me up to see Ezlo's eyes when he's kind of a hot air balloon like that. He seems so done with life. And that's the boss kick.
So much downtime.
So much, yeah. But with next week, this should change a bit.
Yeah, maybe there will be something else to do.
Maybe, indeed. Alright, so this is Gleerock, the second boss. How do we defeat Gleerock? Well, first you get out his shell, and then you jump on the neck and kill him. So at this time, I think it was still expected to have him fall on the top side of the screen, right?
I'm not aware at which point this was known to. It was faster that to make it drop at the bottom in the last cycle.
I would say maybe P had clip, honestly.
Yeah, I think it was fairly recently, only a couple of years ago.
I feel like it's something that that we all more or less felt, but nobody cared enough to look into it until we got the more recent decomp tools, probably, to have the absolute proof that...
No, this wasn't a TAS. At least the first time I heard about it, Haley mentioned it because she was tassing Fire Rod and was like, oh, by the way, if you make Gleerock point down, it saves 1 whole second, exactly 60 frames.
Exactly. So yeah, something nobody really bothered to time before. And we're done with Cave of Flame. So Nitros was showing off that on the walls you actually have carvings of Gleerock. Very important piece of trivia we forgot to mention last week. And for that I deeply apologize. And yeah, so we got the fire element. So now, just like last week, Nitros is gonna go back to town and the sanctuary to fuse the elements onto sword.
So speaking of TASes, I'm pretty sure Tompa did make sure that they got the fastest possible Gleerock in the 2 TASes that they did. So they did a TAS in 2011 just before the speedrun scene for this game took off. But then they did a follow-up TAS after the discovery of portal items saving a large amount of time. So both Tompa and Quo worked together to release a TAS in 2016, which is, as of today, still the most recent TAS for this game.
And it was right before the flipper skip route, right?
Yeah, it came out in... when did it come out? It was in September of 2016, and within 6 months, Flipper Skip got discovered, and it took two years to make. So,
but I think Tompa is currently working on a TAS, a brand new TAS with the optimal route.
Yes, they began working on it in 2019 after the portal items. Sorry, not portal. After the World and angle retention discovery. And yeah, it is still currently a work in progress. It is the furthest they have got into the TAS is currently. They've had to restart a few times because of later discoveries, but it's looking very promising. There's not too much left to work on. They're at the very end of droplets, so there's going to be 2 fairly quick dungeons to do. And,
yeah, I think Palace of Winds is pretty straightforward now with all the glitches in it. It's just a matter of not having to set up for stuff and then manipulating the RNG on guys, probably.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting because there's some TAS only in Palace for sure, and especially in Dark Horror Castle as well. There's 1 or 2 TAS only strats that can be employed.
Yeah. If we're going back to the story, so Nitros just fused the first 2 elements on the white sword, and now you can use it to make clones, which is gonna be a main mechanic for puzzles and such. And now this just unlocks the path to go to the swamp, aka Castle Wild, and that's exactly where Nitros is headed, because he needs to go to Fortress of Winds to 1. Show us the new goddamn glitch we've been waiting for 40 minutes, and 2, to get the 3rd element, the wind element. So how are you feeling so far, Nitros?
It's alright. Could be better, could be worse, but we're chilling.
Alright, big chilling. Speaking of chilling, Vadi comes in to meet us. Let's see what strat Nitro is gonna do against the two moblins. So slightly more risky and optimal strat than what Quo did, but very good strat. That's the one I used to do and I liked it very much. So it's story time. What's the story, Myth? What's happening in this cutscene since you are fluent in Japanese?
Something magic hat. Oh no, it's Eslo was actually a Minish. Wow, I never knew that.
And so he's yelling at Link, who didn't say a single word since he was wrong. And finally we're back. So now we know that it's personal between Eslo and Vali. But I don't really care that much. What's important is that we need to save Zelda after all. So just like last week, we use the two sword to get access to this part of the overworld. And we're gonna read the signs. So before that, we have the best cutscene in the game coming up. So Vali came to see the king, and he had some compelling arguments to make him work with him. So now the king has asked the whole country to search for the light force, and also nobody can enter the castle anymore. Before it was a flourishing place full of tourism and extra income for the realm, but not anymore. And upon hearing about this, Link tried to go into the swamp, and you need boots to cross the swamp unless you are Tears and you like to do some frame perfect bomb boost, but it wasn't known back then. So what we're gonna do is do the boots quest. So to do that, you need to wake up Ren, the shoemaker, because he's the only one who can make you a pair of boots, presumably. And so in order to do that, you go on a fetch quest where you will use your remaining rupees for the third and last item you need to buy, which is a magical mushroom, aka drugs, probably. And so with that you will get the Pegasus boots. Very nice roll lift.
Yeah, very much during the era of this route that people were coming closer to the idea of you can try and do roll lifts at every single bomb use that it makes sense to do it at, and you can get a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, like if you get it, cool. If you don't, it's not a big deal. So why not go for it? So this London ranch, as we said last week, you can actually get the key early if you want. Doesn't do anything, but it's something you can do. As soon as you meet Eslo, you can come back here. So now we're gonna make our way to the Minish Woods again, the this time from the north, so that you can go to Cyrus' hut.
Yeah, people knew about the being able to get the long key early. I'm not exactly sure when it was discovered. I think it was. Oh, it was actually really old. It was back in 2008. But there was certainly an idea of, oh, if you can get the Lon Ranch key, then surely you can skip having to go and read the sign and then start the whole like boots quest before going to Lon Ranch and then having to deal with that. So yeah, the idea was, oh, if we just go immediately to Lon Ranch, we can go and get the mushroom, then go to get the boots right away. The whole problem with that is that before you go and talk to the Minish that are in Rome's shoe shop, Malon is stood in front of the door to
in front of the door, so range, so you cannot get in.
So, not the door, but the like the Minish hole. Yeah, she stood in front of that Minish hole so that you can't shrink and then go in there. But also, there's no Talon there for you to talk to give the key. Having the key doesn't help you go into the door. So it turns out to just like not work. We have to do everything sequentially in the correct order. And
yeah, it's very much locked into, you have to do things in order.
Yeah. The games are very careful about things like this and takes a lot of care to make sure that you do things only in the correct order.
Yeah, I mean, even in the newest routes, you still have to do all the dungeons and all the dungeons in the correct order, nonetheless. So, Castle Wild, just like last week, you have to collect all 3 yellow kingstones so that you can make friends with rocks. Don't ask me how this is a thing, but it is. And in order to do that, some movement in the swamp, which can be very maze-like, I suppose. And unless you know exactly where you go, which is the case for Nitros, you can get stuck quite easily in here. Grabbing some water for later on.
That was a very nice fight.
Very nice fight indeed. It went much better than last week. And so we got the bow, an item that is gonna be useful right there. So in order to progress, you have to shoot some eye or something like that. I don't really know their name, but those
they're eyeballs.
Weird ice statues in the eye. And
so we see a discovery. We see a new strat here that wasn't available to us last week, but Flo in I believe it was 2016 discovered that you can cancel the arrow put away, the bow put away animation by tapping the boots. What we call a boot cancel.
Yeah. But you must be careful to not do it too early, because if you do it too early, the arrow is not gonna come out. So wait for the arrow to be shot, simple as that, to then control the I don't know, rest of the bow animation. And just like that, Nitros is already done with the swamp. Just have to get the last kingstone, which is right there, and then shoot all the 3 statues.
Yeah, Chloe put a lot of time and effort into optimizing a lot of different of the sections for the tasks, and brought all of these optimizations into the RTA run as well. So we're going to see a lot of things that are like micro optimizations that Quo brought in, things like slipping past corners by when we do our boot dashes, and also like changing when you do your equips in the middle of like a bonk.
Yeah, as we said in the beginning, it's not only the glitch that makes it a new route. Well, it's mostly the new glitch, but it's also all the optimization you managed to add as the year go by. So in this screen, Nitro is gonna cut 2 patches of grass. Most of the time when you go in, when you turn into a Minish, it's as if you screen transition. All the enemies are back in where they were supposed to be, the grass grows again, but not that one for some reason. I think there's not a lot of screens that behave like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. These patches of grass have special temporary room flags in a section of memory that's completely unrelated to all of the regular like global game flags. It shares a lot in common with how the Armos work. With you hit the switch and it turns itself off, and you leave the room, but the game remembers that the Armos is turned off. But when you leave and come back to the room from a different room, a completely different room unrelated to the Armos, then it's different.
Right, and very nice slide. This was always scary when running. And so this is Fortress of Winds. So what's gonna happen with this dungeon myth? What can we expect?
Yeah, so here's where we're going to be seeing portal items. So we're going to see Nitro's doing the same as what we saw Quo do last time, where they're going to start out by going to the right-hand side of the dungeon to get a small key. But instead of having to go and get all of the small keys to be able to go and get the big key later on in the dungeon, we're going to be completely skipping the big key and skipping directly to the boss. Very nice. We don't need drinking things yet.
Yeah, you are 2 years too early for that, Nitros.
But yeah, we're going to be getting the mitts, and then making use of the mitts, we'll come back to this room to do portal items on the portal that's located right here. So yeah, portal items was very much known about prior to 2014 when it was introduced in the run. It's literally just you slide against a portal, and you. Oh, actually, no. The very first understanding of how portal items worked was everyone thought it was a frame perfect trick, and that you pushed against a portal, and then you had to time your item press for 1 frame before you jumped up onto the portal, and then it worked. And that works. That's how you can do it. But then we figured out a much more consistent way of being able to do it by sliding against the portal and then using the item.
Frame, right?
It's the whole push value storage thing, like how Chrono Clip works. Like when as you push against an object, you have a value in memory called the push value that starts at 0, and every frame it counts up, and then when it hits 6, you do your pushing animation, which on a portal makes you jump up onto the portal. If you're sliding against the portal, it charges up to 6, but it doesn't actually trigger the jump until you actually push only in the direction of the portal. So we do this whole slide thing to get to push, like charge up push value 6. Press the item, and then after we press the item, then we can switch our direction to push towards the portal and actually jump onto the portal and the animation, which makes it just like so completely free.
Yeah, So here we're actually gonna see a new strat. As you can see, Nitro's equipped the water, so get ready for this. Of
Yeah,
course.
that's nice. So they, if you didn't catch that, they dumped the bottle of water and then opened the chest, and that activated the bottle invulnerability glitch, so they didn't get zapped by the spark, which saves a small amount of time.
Of course.
So here's the optimization and for portal items that help it actually be viable for the route. If you use a bomb explosion with the perfect timing, you can get up the wall and get out of bounds, which completely skips the second half of the dungeon.
Yeah, so this is a 4-frame window, I think, to get the boost. 4 or 5.
I think it's 5.
I've heard it depends, but
yeah.
It's at worst 4 frames, which is not a lot since the game runs at 60, but it's better than 1 frame. And with a bit of pause buffering, it's not too bad. It's still kind of surprised.
Yeah, there are how it works is we Nitros did a pause to equip, and you time it at a very specific time to try and get this window. You just memorize what all of the sprites look like, and there's a set of sprites that the bomb looks like. That if you pause and it looks like that, you're at the right time to be able to just jump and do work.
And the pause to equip that also lets you realize, are you on one of the frames that are gonna walk, or do you need to do more pauses, that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
pretty convenient. So this is Mazal, so pretty RNG boss because the pillars are never gonna be the same twice, but they can be anywhere inside each end, inside the head, and the ends is either gonna attack you with the left or right hand first, and pretty good RNG so far. Nitros was able to damage the hand that was closest to him each time. So this is pretty good. This should be a sub-hour Ocarina time, I want to believe.
Yeah, I believe so.
Not so much luck on the pillars, but the rest was pretty cool, pretty good.
Yeah, in the era of this route, and also the next 2 routes as well, getting a sub-hour Ocarina a time is like the benchmark of a good pace.
Yeah, the benchmark of being a top runner even, I would say. And yeah, 59-48, very good. And so we were expecting to get the wind element there actually, but it didn't happen. So we will have to do what we can and just go grab the water element then. So the sole purpose of this Ocarina is to fast travel and to get access to this house to trigger the book quest. So you're gonna ask me what uses the boot quest. Well, the boot quest is to get the flippers to then get inside jump off droplets. I think it's gonna be slightly different from last week. Maybe when you glitch.
This section always confuses me because I know about 5 or 6 different routes for collecting these books across different any percent runs, and Hundo does things completely different, and Glitchless as well is completely different. But yeah, the whole aim is we need to collect 3 books: the red book, the green and blue book, and we figured out some ways of getting the green book out of order. You're supposed to go and get the power bracelets before you get the green book, but we're going to swap those around, and we're going to get the power bracelets after we get the green book.
Funny enough, you can roll into Echo Trigger as a Minish, which is what happened to Nitro right there.
Yeah.
Very nice cat so far. Oh yeah, Also, Nitro picked Red Keystone in Fortress of Twins last week. Pro did pick it up in the Town Cave. It's just much faster to get it there. Completely. Not much to say except that it's a fixed Keystone in a chest, so...
Yeah, I believe that. So, yeah, we won't be seeing anything different here to what we saw Chloe do last week. We're going to be doing the same strat here to be able to go over to get the green book. This is a slightly different version of it, where you can see we are
kind of glitched.
A glitched out Moldoza sprite. This is purely because Nitros went up and down the staircase before doing sorry, no, it's not the. It was the killing the pesto. I'm pretty sure it's killing the pesto that
Yeah.
that makes.
Yeah, that's correct.
You need to kill him, otherwise it doesn't work, I think. I'm not very
Chloe
familiar.
demonstrated what happens when you don't kill the pesto, and they had to go up and down the staircase in the second room.
But all in all, it's all about the fact that those areas are next to each other in the memory, so if you manage to screen transition from one to the other, just work like that. Same thing with Fairy Fountain, I think they're all next to each other. You just have to find a way to screen transition, which is impossible in the vanilla game so far.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's literally as simple as the game is broken up into areas, and when they have the area for things like the Minish roofs, they put all of the rooms in there, and they can put them literally anywhere. They can arrange them in any physical position in the world that they want. But to just be simple, they just put things next to each other, and they can control. You can control in memory whether or not the sides of screens have can do a screen transition or not. By default, it allows it, so you'd need to specify that it's not allowed, and purely because they're out of bounds edges. It was just a developer oversight where they were like, well, we don't need to specify that you're not allowed to do a screen transition here, because no player would ever be able to do this, right? So we exploited that.
And they were wrong. So not much is happening. Well, Caesar Bracelet quest, Nitros got hit by a cat, so cats are kind of assholes in this game, but it's okay. And another Mendoza fight to get that item. You were saying, Myth?
Yeah, so one of the changes that would happen, that happened technically just before the end of this route. We're kind of batching this change into Flipper's Skip, but being able to get OG from the or Ocarina Glitch from the cafe lady's like front door, or the front door of the cafe, that was known just before Flipper's Skip was discovered, but it was never actually incorporated into any run of this route until Flipper's Skip was fully discovered and people started doing routes of that. So. Yeah, the house the cafe lady's in front of, the cafe.
Lady OG. So yeah, we already have some tools for the next route, but the next route isn't available just yet because, well, as long as you do not know how to do envelope droplets without the flippers, you just can't skip the flippers, because entering droplets was something that we already knew last week. So legacy route, but you can get the element. It's so now we got all the free books, so it's time to get the flippers and then to enter Temple of Droplets, right?
Yeah.
Very cleverly named, indeed.
Yeah, as we were talking about portal items before, it was the very first day it was discovered, when MB was testing out the bomb strat to make it work and get outbound in Fortress, they discovered it on the European version, because that's the version that they had and that they were testing. And they were under the assumption that it was only possible on the European version, because everyone knew that the European version was an earlier build of the game, and all they had to compare with was the North American version. So they tested the European version and it worked, and they tested the North American version and it didn't work. So no one knew about the Japanese version working or not, and just the day one assumption of it was it wouldn't work on Japanese. But then very quickly it got tested on a Japanese ROM and it showed that it worked. So then everyone immediately decided to just play on the Japanese version because it was going to be the fastest version to play on from that point on.
Yeah.
But people still wanted the European version to be the fastest version of the game, so there was a lot of glitch hunting to discover version exclusive glitches for the European version, and quite a lot was found. There's a bunch of stuff to do with like memory corruption with going into digging caves and activating like the lantern and other items at the same time. There's a bunch of glitches involving that. But unfortunately, none of these were actually useful for the speedrun, which is quite disappointing.
Alright, so we've seen Nitros get a safety fairy. Didn't go for the quarter, her bit of shame, contrary to Kuro. And
I would on this help.
Yeah, I think I would as well, but Nitros is a professional. And yeah, on the flipper fight, the enemies were very annoying, but as we said last week, they are always gonna be, unless you got a boomerang to deal with them. And we will never get the boomerang. This is a useless item, as said by Tompa and many other people.
We've got a screenshot of Tompa saying boomerang is
useless.
like...
And yeah, so how will droplets change compared to last time?
I'm pretty sure it doesn't whatsoever.
Not even with the lily pad room?
Oh, that's right. We're going to see the lily pad done a little bit faster, but that was also a discovery from the previous route that...
Yeah, basically the same route except slightly faster lily pad skip, let's call it like that.
Yeah.
Very nice help. Those pesos have always been annoying. I wonder if Nitros will get the mushroom grab thingy. I remember correctly Code did last week, so...
Yeah.
Did Nitros practice his swag strat, I wonder? Oh, let's go.
It's quite a bit faster. It's I think it's like over 2 seconds. It's a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's a glitch, so you don't actually see it in glitchless, which is the only modern run that we see come to this area. And here's the optimization that was later discovered, that you can do the lily pad skip from the very beginning of the room instead of having to do the puzzle halfway through the room. That saves a lot more time.
Oh, that rule right there, I think it's frame perfect.
Yeah, that's a frame perfect roll.
Can't believe those guys are going for it. And getting it.
Yeah, something to be really careful of with these scissored beetles is that if you slash their mandibles, it does recoil damage to Link. So you can kill yourself by slashing their horns.
Alright, everything is fine and the first half of the dungeon is done.
Yeah, that's the last time we're going to be seeing the dungeon done like this. Future routes are going to do things very differently.
Yeah. Which also means that future runs will have a longer droplets, right? All of them? Maybe not all of them.
I believe droplets only ever got faster in the runs. Just because that lily pad section is so slow.
Yeah, the first section is pretty slow. In any way, so this is the mini boss of droplets, basically a refight of Green Shoe, except this time it's blue, and it gets a lightning invincibility phase. So it's all about well, trying to manipulate the mini boss to do what you want him to do and lead him in a corner or on the side. And what you want optimally is to trigger his losing balance and falling when he's on the center of the screen. Because as you can see, once it triggers, he just goes to the center and then it follows you up and down. And that's the only difference really. It's exactly the same behavior as Green Shoe, even the third phase where he can jump or charge at you, except this time what you really want is for him to jump, because it's easier to set up the gust jar use afterwards. That's kind of funny how with Green Shoe you really hope for a charge, and for Blue Shoe you really hope for jumps.
That was fastest. Nitro's only had was mashing on the Blue Chew and only had enough time to do 5 slashes, which is the shortest period of time. And you have to do 5 slashes in order to do enough damage to progress the fight. If you do 4 in that phase, it's not enough damage.
Yeah.
And yeah, no jumps, but only like charging around, but still dealt with the fight quickly.
Yeah, and a quick spin attack for the third phase to save, I don't know, 1 or 2 slashes maybe. Well, it's slightly faster, and I mean you have to wait for him to fall anyway, so why not?
Yeah, the last stage it ends the fight instantly.
Right, and now just like last week we're gonna do one Ocarina glitch. Is this the first Ocarina glitch? No, it's the second one. The first one was during Book Quest.
And we did one at the beginning of the dungeon as well. This is the third.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, another Ocarina glitch to skip the entirety of the second half of the dungeon, basically.
Yeah, we're just ignoring Ocarina Glitch. That's such a legacy route thing. Like, who cares about Ocarina Glitch?
Well, I guess we can just quickly say what it does. Basically, the way to do it is you want to enter, I think it's mainly stairs, like a screen transition, and you interrupt the animation by playing the ocarina, and then it puts you in a weird state where you can climb up but not down. So if you get on layer 2, you will stay on layer 2, and that's basically what it's used for. You get on layer 2 and you transition where you're not supposed to, and you get where you're not supposed to. You must be very careful to not soft lock, because a bunch of stuff can soft lock you on the first screen where you do the ocarina glitch. But that's about it. Very versatile glitch.
Yeah, we didn't see it that much. We saw a little bit of at the beginning of this dungeon where you can like run over void, and you can also run over water with it, which is a very useful property for it to have. It's not going to be the last time that we see Ocarina Glitch. We're going to be seeing it a few more times, but we're also going to be seeing Ocarina Glitch done much later on. We're in Palace of Winds.
Yeah, indeed. So this is Octo. Do you want to explain how we defeat Octo?
Yeah, that's right. So, despite more discoveries being made about RNG manipulations, Octo was viewed as far too complicated to actually RNG manipulate, despite other fights being RNG manipulated later on in the game. So, how Octo works is there's like 3 phases to it. The first phase, it just fires rocks and you hit them all back. This is the second phase that we're on at the moment. It always does the same pattern. It does rock, suck, rock, suck, and then it's gonna do another 2 rocks after that. And yeah, in between each of the cycles, you just go and light the tail on fire.
And follow.
And now we're on to the last stage. This stage is purely RNG. It can do one of a few different things, but basically it does an action and then it can spew ink afterwards. So here we're going to get a pattern where it shoots ink out. You can either, in total in this fight, you can either get 0 ink, 1 ink, or 2 ink. That's if you play perfectly. If you miss any rocks, you can get more. But ideally you don't get that. Every ink cycle costs 30 seconds, so all the times this game was being run in this era, everyone would always mention how many inks they got in their run, so you could know if a time was like 30 seconds slower than it could have been, or a minute slower than it could have been.
And so far, pretty bad luck from Nitro. He got 2 inks already.
Yeah.
And, well, hopefully it's not gonna get sucked in the 3rd time. He would survive, but it would be what we sometimes call 2.5 inks, because it's kind of slow. You would have gotten 3 inks if you didn't kill Octo. But alright, 2 inks.
Yeah, that was just a raw 2 ink. So that's about a minute loss over
the best outcome,
perfect RNG.
Or as I like to put it, 30 seconds loss over what you get on average.
Yeah. So 0 ink is about a 25% chance of happening. I brought up the stats for this last time.
But yeah, more or less, if we are not looking at the specific cases, it's 25% to get 0 ink, 50% to get 1 ink, and 25 to get 2 inks, right? Maybe slightly below 25 to get 2 inks, because you can get also charge patterns.
Yeah, also, as you can get charges where Octo will just like bash against a wall at a certain number of times. That's completely random and can happen on anything that isn't zero ink. So yeah, there's some random extra time loss that can get added in as well. That's not accounted for by the raw calculation of like 0 ink, 1 ink, 2 ink.
Yep. And so, two things to say there. It's not the English version, so the last guard is not as fast as it used to be. If you remember last week, we were actually talking about that. Ooh, nice bonk.
Yeah, nice bonk.
And I like the boot slide at the end. I don't think Crow was doing it last week. I guess it's something that that was new as well.
Yeah, that was a discovery by Quo, an optimization that they applied to the TAS, and it got added to RTA runs. Yeah, I've got the stats here. So a 2 ink is 18.75% versus a 0 ink's 25% chance. So the least likely outcome is a 2 ink. It's outrageously unlucky.
Yeah, it's less than 1 in 5.
Yeah, it's about 56% chance of a 1 ink.
Well, Nitros took one for the team that everybody else on this event is gonna get 1 ink or better. We should all thank Nitros, next runners. Alright, so now we got the blue sword. We can have 2 clones, so do more puzzles. And what we're supposed to do is go to Royal Valley, because after Temple of Droplets we got the king, which is now dead. Tell us that he wanted us to go to the graveyard with him to have a party or something. But we're not gonna do that actually. What we're gonna do is take this teleporter that we set up during the quest when we fuse with the stranger, and with 2 Ocarina glitches we can just get to Palace of Winds. Simple as that. Which skips, I think it's a quarter of an hour, right? 15 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah.
Between Royal Valley, going to Vale Falls, doing cloud tops, everything. So
2 out of 3. That's the classic.
it's pretty good. And so we're entering Palace of Winds. So what can we expect there, Myth? Is there going to be anything different from last week?
Yeah, so there's going to be some small difference at the beginning here. So we're going to get absolutely railed by these P-hats because they're the worst enemy in the game.
Sure.
This room is the worst room. It's so awful.
It is very heavily RNG, and yeah, a lot can happen.
Oof. Yeah. Oh,
Even
that was
those
close.
guys at the end can mess you up.
Yeah, that guy was about to walk into Nitro, so he did a good job slashing it. Yeah, so Ocarina Glitch in its original form was discovered way prior to this route, but it doesn't mean that's the there weren't more discoveries about Ocarina Glitch discovered in this route. Specifically, cutscene Ocarina Glitch.
Cutscene OG.
So we are going to see that later on in the dungeon to save some time. But in this fight here, one of the optimizations made is using the lantern to one-shot the Wizrobes instead of using the sword to kill them.
Yep, because for some reason Wizrobe are like big nerds. They cannot deal with light, so you can just put the lantern on their face and they instantly die. Just like
you just flame them and
Alright, now, so just like last week, we're gonna skip into the platform, very nicely done. And the rest of the dungeon is gonna be more or less the same, I think?
Yeah, pretty much until we get to the spot where portal items, sorry, not portal items.
Yeah,
Cutscene
Cutscene
Ocarina Glitch comes into play.
Nitros will most probably go for it. I just hope it's gonna get it to show it to the world. It's not easy. It's a 1 frame, 1 chance trick, which luckily is completely optional there. It saves time, but you don't need to do it. And I mean, let's be clear: who in their right mind would put that kind of trick in the route as a necessity?
Yeah, it's definitely not a necessity. Like, it just acts as a 30-second time save.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tompa discovered cutscene Ocarina Glitch in 2016, and the spot that they discovered it in was an earlier point of the dungeon that we're currently at. So you could theoretically glitch into like the second half of the dungeon and go and get some small keys and skip some of this stuff, but no one ever implemented that into a route to try and see if it was faster or not. I theorize that it was, but it just wasn't tried at the time. Or it was tried and it was deemed not viable. I don't have too much information on that.
It's such a shame that the cape is so late in the game. I mean, I guess it kind of breaks a lot of stuff, but if you look at the Oracle games or even Link's Awakening, you get the feather at least quite early on, and yeah, it's just so much better for the overall movement. I feel like when you equip the boots and the cape, you can get very creative with, well, the boots, the cape, the rolls, everything.
Yeah, something that's the case in the randomizer is if you get an early cape, you're just like, yes, because you get to just
everywhere.
you can just use the cape in all of your movement everywhere, and it's so clean. It feels really nice to just get to play the whole game with the cape.
Alright, so this is the room. So to do cutscene OG, it's pretty simple. You just need to place the ocarina on the last frame the enemy is killed, I think.
Yeah,
and
there's like a death animation, and you just try and press the ocarina on it. I missed it.
It was too late, but never mind.
Yeah. What that would allow Nitros to do is in this room, with the Ocarina glitch, you would be able to just walk down.
Yeah.
And you can walk over the void and get to a lower section that will point out later. But in the meantime, they're going to have to solve all of the puzzles in these rooms.
Oh yeah, also there should be a new strat for that fight.
This fight.
I like it a lot.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I actually got lucky with the Moblin as well. Very nice strat. You use 2 bombs, one of them not in the airflow and the other one in it so that it gets pushed and it kills the 2 wizards instantly. And then you only have to deal with the Moblins, and when, like in that case, the Moblin stay near the bombs, it's even better. And there, if only Nitros wasted some time to get a boomerang, you could get a fairy from the spark, but unfortunately it does not. Not so much a big deal since, yeah, the fairy in a bottle at the very least. And so, second half of Palace of Winds, just like last week. Best Dark Knight fight in the game, I swear, I love it.
Yeah, but it's such a great part of the run. Oh, nice. Yeah, there's a lot of little micro optimizations implemented by like in these sections um, from the any percent runs of this era that you kind of like don't see now because no one does these sections of the games.
Yeah. Alright, let's see if he's gonna get first try. Oh, nope.
Oof.
Another roll lift. Let's go. That was pretty sketchy, but once again, Pihat here to ruin everyone's life.
Yeah. Why the P-Hat's always in the perfect spots to
Mess you up, yeah.
be as annoying as possible.
I wonder, maybe it's hard-coded to be as annoying as possible. I really like that. Like it's supposed to be a puzzle where you circle around, you can just jump on the friggin' tornado. I love it. Like, nope, I'm not gonna do what you say. Game. Another very scary room coming up.
Yeah, that's right. We managed to avoid a room in
nice.
Fortress that had, or multiple rooms in Fortress that had the floor masters that can grab you and send you to the beginning of the dungeon.
Yeah.
So now the only really scary place that they turn up now is in that room.
Lucky Shell. Run is blessed. I didn't realize how tight the bomb route was in, well, that route.
Yeah.
I guess Nitro's wasted one or two here and there, but I mean...
No, it was legitimately very tight. You couldn't waste more than, like, 2 bombs.
Yeah. Which is a lot of things we don't really see anymore. Very nice backward jump, I like that piece of movement a lot.
Yeah. It can be tricky to jump and then move far enough to get over the guy before it explodes. But a really fun quirk with jumping backwards, you accelerate at twice the speed you do when you jump forwards.
Really?
But there's just a cap on the max speed when you move
Backward.
In like both directions, really.
Alright.
And when you jump backwards as well, you can't like you always start from immediately 0, whereas like you can jump forwards and you're starting at regular walking speed and then start accelerating. So it's faster to jump forwards towards things, but it just so happens in that spot you want to be completely stationary and then start moving. So the backwards jump is just perfect for that spot.
I see. Alright, and now it's time for the boss fight. Super unfair. The big one, the red one, is the mother, I suppose, or the female one, and you have to whack the eyes. You clone and you hit them, and then you have to hit at least 3 eyes to deal damage. And in between phases, you're gonna jump on the blue ones, and well, you wait for one eye to open, and what you want to do optimally is do one quick spin attack and hit it twice. Or if you can't manage to do that, it's 4 hits, so you can do 2 per eye opening cycle, I suppose. This was very good.
This fight's really weird when you think about it. Like, Link's committing a hate crime.
What do you mean?
There's 2 blue Georgs, so there's like the female Georg and there's 2 husbands. This is a polyamory family, and you're just murdering them all. All the green ones are the babies.
Alright, but are you murdering them because they are polyamorous or because they are giant monsters trying to kill you?
Ask Link, like...
I mean, shouldn't we ask Ezlo? He's the brain behind this whole operation, after all.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's actually one of the patterns you can get cloneless, but overall, pretty nice fight. I think Nature's got the spin attack on all the blue ones. Not sure if he lost his clone at some point, but it seemed like a pretty good fight to me.
It was just unfortunate on the last cycle there was literally 1 slash left.
Yeah,
I had to do an extra climb, but otherwise it was fine.
still seems like a pretty good run so far. I don't have any way to know what it was compared to previous runs, but it seems to me like it's very solid. And so now we are almost done with the game, right? We got the 4 elements. We're just gonna go to the sanctuary, choose the sword, and save Zelda. As usual.
So yeah, the overall route for the rest of the run is going to be no different. We're going to be doing DHC the same way. There's going to be some slight optimizations to make things a little bit faster.
Like a cannonless strat, I assume?
I believe that was... Did Flo do that?
Yeah, he tried to, but he failed, and I'm gonna actually keep count of who manages to get it and who doesn't. So I'm pretty sure Nature's practiced only that for the past week.
Totally.
I believe the main time save is going to be triple dark nut minute.
Yeah, since from this route we know we can many things. The 2 no-brain additions are, well, getting a rupee at the beginning to save time instantly, and a dark nut minute indeed.
Yeah, Toads developed a dark nut manip that was very tricky, and I don't know what it was. They deleted the video because it was outdated, and they made a better one. So I don't know what the manip looked like in the in this era, but I believe that some other manip came around as well. Yeah, Vlak did come up with a triple dark nut minute as well.
Right, well, we'll see if Nitro's learned one, and if yes, which one. But yeah, so after getting the 4 sword, you get to see the intro cutscene again, still in Japanese, so we still don't really know what's going on. But this time with an extra panel revealing that the light force was actually in Zelda all along. And it turns out that the king, who we thought was dead from too much stimulation, actually is not the king, and it's Vaadi who took its form and shape. So now Vaadi knows where to find what he wants, and he's gonna transform the castle into a demonic castle. I mean, that's a story we see everywhere, come on. And basically this is the last dungeon, where, as Myth said, we're gonna do exactly the same thing as last week, which is to gather 4 keys and then use Zelda. But before that, is cutscene walking a thing?
Yes, that's right. It was discovered, I believe, by Tompa. Let me just double check.
Perfect. So the idea is to unfreeze all those people, and well, supposedly you cannot move until they move and then they talk to you, but if you get interrupted by an S-Load trigger, you can actually regain control of Link, and by timing all 3, well, mainly the first 2 unfreezing, you can save like 7 seconds or something, because you don't have to wait.
Oh, very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So this room is awful. You can get hit by the enemies, and then you have to wait. I think it's 20 seconds or maybe 15, but it's way too much.
It's 10 seconds. It feels like 20 seconds
It feels
for
like
sure.
20. My God.
Yeah, you just can't use any items, which sucks because you need to use the ocarina to get the ocarina glitch.
And so there, as Ko said last week, nobody used the boots in the legacy route, and then someone probably said, hey, why don't we use the freaking boots? And so it's much faster to do it. You can also slide after the first door, which is pretty cool. And now for the cannonless strat. Let's go.
Nice.
Pretty sketchy, but that moblin is almost never an issue. And yeah, so the rest of the dungeon is about getting 4 keys, just like last week. We're gonna do a few ocarina glitches to get to the bottom left and bottom right towers, I think. Exiting and entering so that when you 7 quit, you get back there. Very nice OG again.
Yeah.
So Nitros have been doing classic all along, right?
Yeah.
And this run, yeah.
Next week we will see something new because classic was more or less set up, I want to say, by Darky, which who happens to be our runner next week for the flipper skip route. Unfortunate bonk. It's much lower than you expect it to be.
Oh, an arrow drop.
Yeah, safety arrow drops for Vardy 2. Vardy 2 is going to be in 3 cycles, right?
Yes, that's right. At the very end of the era for this run in 2017, in the world record run, that was the last world record for this route. Toads accidentally did the first ever 3-cycle Batty 2 unintentionally. And then everyone was like, what the hell happened? And then looked into it and then discovered, oh, we can do Batty 2 in one less cycle.
Which is huge, especially because the last cycle is basically Vardy going much faster, so it's not only harder, it's only, well, slower, so getting rid of that extra cycle is very good.
Yeah, and all of the extra RNG that comes with the fight as well, because Batty, it's less opportunities with Batty to just bully you and make you lose time.
Yeah, to have something not going according to plan and to have more spiky stuff on the ground. Vardy 2 is the kind of fight that the longer it gets, the longer it gets.
Yeah.
Alright, very good OGs, especially considering that Nitros is used to doing the other method, I think. There, if you transition instead of jumping, you have to do one roll to be able to use items, since you are in OG state.
You need to be at the bottom. If you're ever in the top of the doorway, the jump doesn't work, and it disables you from being able to jump.
Yeah. On there, yeah, okay.
Yeah, nice.
One setup that exists is using the sword, but then everyone has their own visual cue as well. Very nice double kill. And we're almost done with the DHC actually. Well, I'm saying almost, because I feel like once you activate the red teleporter, there's not much happening, but there's still some fights and some room. Very nice fight, you just let him get stuck in the door. I think in that room you can do a cut synergy to save 1 second. Cut synergy and 7 quit.
Yeah, it's 3 seconds, and it's yeah. You need to do the cutscene OG, which is frame perfect,
and then
you need to do a frame perfect pause after you play the ocarina to cancel the ocarina glitch. So it's 2 frame perfect inputs that you have to do back to back, and it saves 3 seconds.
So needless to say, nobody goes for it.
Yeah, no one's ever tried it RTA. Well, in an RTA run, it's only done in the TAS.
Right, and now we're about to get the 4th key. The next room, you have the ghost. We didn't explain what they were last week, but basically, one of them is the real one. That's the one that closes its eye when you hit him. And
very nice.
Yep,
drop.
Nice hard drop. I think Nitro still has his fairy in the bottle, so doesn't matter that much. But I mean, better safe than sorry, especially in a marathon. And so now
Yeah,
it's time
very much.
for what I like to call the last stretch of the run. So it's going to be about getting the boss key and then fighting the boss in 3 phases.
So from this point on, Nitrous is going to be doing an RNG minute for the Darknet fight. I'm assuming it's Flax, just because it's the most popular one that everyone does, and it was first discovered at this time and known.
We shall see. The main goal of Darknet Manip was first to get the black one, the middle one charging at you, because that's the one that takes the most hit. I think it's 7 or 8, and the red one are only 5. And then if you can keep the Manip running and kill all 3 Darknets, it's better, but at the very least you want the middle one to roll.
Is this?
Well,
I don't think that was minutes. I didn't count the rolls going into there.
In any way, we are not gonna see it because, well, something that can happen in that room is the kitten not cooperating with you, and then you lose your clone, and not only you lose time, but maybe even worse, your Manip is ruined. Luckily, you can get the Darknet stuck inside each other, which can help. Otherwise, it's mostly about waiting for them to attack and then doing 2 quick slashes.
Yeah, these are by far the hardest enemies you fight in the whole game.
Yeah.
So it's very tricky to get them to behave and play nice.
Honestly, it was good enough considering that was no Manip.
I was going for a minute, but I must have messed up the slashes in the Keaton room.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that Keaton pattern was correct, right?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a different minute than the one you were thinking of, but yeah.
And then Vardy, so just like last week, no Manip for Vardy 1 and 2. Basically, at least, well, no, it wasn't.
It wasn't known at the time. No one thought that you could minute Fatty 1.
Yeah. It's the same amount of hit as in the US version, I think. It's only the European one that's harder. And so, first cycle, eyes, second cycle with the protection on the eye, and you use the Gojra on it.
The European one is different. It's actually 3 cycles, but the eyes that orbit have 2 health, so you have to slash them twice.
Very nice variety one. Even Manipulate, I don't think he did a single teleport, or maybe just one. But very quick fight.
Yeah. So here's where we're going to see one of the big changes, which was Vati 2 being able to be done in 3 cycles instead of 4 cycles.
And with boots consoling.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and also using the boot cancel to speed up this fight a little bit, help making it a bit more consistent.
Yeah.
So in previous versions, we would just mash on Vati as much as possible to try and do as much damage as possible. And you can do that in the first cycle because it doesn't matter. But for the second and third cycles, it's the most consistent to do a spin attack with the clones. Because the clone spin attack turns out to do to be completely bugged, and it doesn't deal damage, it just sets the health to a certain value. And for the second phase, that's below the threshold required to kill Vati. And in the last one, it's going to be
just one hit away.
It's I think it's exactly 4 health, which is 1 4-sword slash.
Not sure what you're doing with that, Nitros.
Good catch.
Right. All right. Very nice recycle. Good enough fight. It can go much worse. And so now we're done. Vaidi is dead. We can save Zelda and just escape the castle, right?
And yeah, GG's. That's the run over.
Yeah, I'm 152. It's gonna be 152.52. Way underestimated. So, of course, the entrance is blocked, so we have to run to the sanctuary. I assume all the rest of the staff in the castle either died or ran away.
Yeah, everyone already left.
Oh no, 2 phase boss wasn't enough. Let's go for phase 3. So Vaidi 3, well, first thing first, you have to get rid of the 2 eyes. 2 eyes, 2 arms.
Oh my god, that is a good that was an extremely fast arm. The first arm was still swinging before, and the second arm was like, I'm going in the ground now.
Yeah, that's pretty fast indeed. So you have to kill the one that's looking at you. And here we go. And then second arm is gonna be the exact same thing, except you have to use, well, you don't have to, but it's better to use the lantern to see what's going on. Well, first one was pretty fast, but second one was kind of slow. It's okay. Very quick arm entry, love to see it. Alright, and now it's only the very end where you have to make clones and play ping pong or volleyball or whatever board game you like with Vaidi. Turns out there's a chance he can do this,
yeah,
which is annoying. It's not a big deal, but it's annoying. And then
it is a 25% chance of happening,
yeah,
so that's
have to line up.
So Nitro's got the 2 biggest like time losses purely due to RNG, and they are low chances of happening as well.
Also, one of the reasons why you should never clone extremely to the left or to the right is that Vaidi can go on the edges of the arena and then you cannot line yourself up in front of the eyes. But it's alright.
GG.
And GG.
I think that was a 48.
Yes, that was a 48.
What was the exact time?
154.48.
That's really interesting. I'm pretty sure that's the exact run of exact time of DBX's ADDQ run.
Oh really? Well,
That's kind of funny.
you are just as good as he was on that route. Alright, pretty good run, in my opinion. What did you think of it, Nitros? What are your feelings?
Well, I mean, there were a lot of time losses out of my control, as we mentioned, but I mean, I could have also played better in some places. But overall, there wasn't really like a massive slowdown anywhere. I didn't die or anything, so
Yeah.
that was pretty nice.
Pretty solid run in my book. What do you think, Myth? Was it faithful?
Yeah,
faithful?
that was a good run. If you did that back in the era of like when this was the route, that would be a top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just gotta add the, cutscene OG and the Zero Ink Octo.
Exactly. I mean,
Then,
with those two, that must have been a 152.52 actually. Like we are joking about it, but which was basically Ricky, right? Maybe not at the end, but for a while.
Yeah, definitely. If you account for like the the cutscene OG saving about 30 seconds and getting a 0 ink instead of a 2 ink, you got about a minute and a half. You'd have been down in the like mid 152, so it would have been pretty much on the 150. Like you would be right at the 152.52 mark. I can run through a couple of the the people that were in the top 5 at the time.
Yeah,
So,
go ahead. We're just gonna switch to the other scene, so let's mute the game audio for that. And we're back. All right, so Myth, you wanted to tell us a little bit about the setting of the leaderboards back then?
Yeah, so the era of the route spanned from 2014 through to 2017. And at the very end of the the time that this route existed, you had a very close battle going on between Toads and DBX for the record at the time. So Toads had the record with a 151.17, and DBX was very close behind in second place with 151.38. Only 20 seconds behind. These both were set in January of 2017. In third place, you had Fire Turtle, who wasn't a runner that had played in the Legacy route, but was rapidly improving and proving that they were really
contender.
Really a contender for the world record, and quite notable for movement improvements and things like that. We'll be seeing them later in the history series, as they will be doing one of the routes. In fourth place, we have MB Rules, who was the world record holder from the Legacy route that didn't do too much with the portal items route. They were around very early on, took a bit of a break, and came back to do the tournament and managed to set a top time with a 153. One of the other things that happened in this era as well is that the 100% speedrun had a huge overhaul and improvement. Loads of discoveries were made, such as being able to farm kinstones at one location. So that kind of really brought in the changes to the 100% speedrun that make it is kind of what it is today. And Toads spent a lot of time on the 100% speedrun as well, bringing it down to the low 4-hour times.
Yeah, indeed. All right, well, that was Portal Items run by Nitros. You can follow the runner right there. He's doing the Legacy route. I didn't change this command. It's all right. He was doing Portal Items, but you can follow him on Twitch, Twitter, whatever, what you want. Everywhere. He's everywhere, really. Any last word, Nitros? You have a shout out to make? Any crazy revelations?
Thanks for having me on the event, and definitely try to catch the next couple of runs, because there are going to be some very interesting developments to see for sure.
Yeah, speaking of which, next week we are going to see Darky Squid, a former world record holder and contender for the flipper skip route, which is the one where he appeared, I want to say. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, very, very strong runner, playing one of the maybe most iconic route, I want to say. Like skipping the flippers was a big deal, and then skipping the bracelet was as well. Skipping key items more than skipping areas, because you get tricks, but it's always I don't know, it rings better. Let's put it at that. All right, any last word as well, Myth?
Yeah, it was great to see portal items. It was definitely like the last of like what is kind of like a nostalgic old route, and some big changes are going to happen with flippers, and kind of changes a lot of what the nature of the speedrun is to be more trick based.
Yeah.
Moving forwards. So yeah, we'll be checking it out next week.